Hello, greetings from my home office in Wilmington, North Carolina. We're on week 8 of our quarantine. I've been operating Breaking Tea day to day and also attempting to raise 3 small children along with my wife. Let's do 3 sips of advice. Sip number 1. Since your company has been virtual from the start, what 3 pieces of advice do you have for entrepreneurs about managing a virtual workforce? Well, first off, I'd say be available if you're not in the same physical space as everyone else, and that goes for both your staff or even external partners. You want to be available at all times, whether that's through phone, email, text, DM, Slack, whatever. It comes at all times, and you need to be responsive, even if it's to say not now. But I've found that availability, or at least setting an expectation of when you're going to be or not be available, goes a long way. And it also sets the tone for everyone else to be available as well. Another thing that I've found helpful, even though I despise meetings, especially unnecessary meetings, is a weekly one-on-one with my direct reports. Just to check in, 30 minutes, or whatever. It could be 15, could be an hour. I find that that's time well spent because it's just 2 people one-on-one, no multitasking, and you can get into substantive matters, but you could also just hear about how someone is doing, get to know them a little bit better. Also goes a long way. And it brings me to my third point, which I think is also useful at any point, but especially during the pandemic, is to be empathetic. Let people know that they don't have to go all out every day, that you understand that there's a lot weighing on everyone. Everyone's going through something all the time, but everyone's going through a lot right now. So just be understanding of that and know that they might need some space. As a leader, as a manager, take a personal day, take a morning, just take off and set the tone and the understanding that that's okay. But yeah, overall, I think just being understanding and optimistic and available will go a long way to lead a virtual workforce. All right, sip 2, shall we? Given there are no live sports games, what are 3 ways your company has pivoted to retain or gain sales? Well, this may be a little specific for us, but I think overall for any business, especially during a time of adversity, unexpected and prolonged adversity like we're all facing right now, you want to be dynamic. For us, our retail business was a significant portion of our overall business, and it just went away 8 weeks ago. So that was tough. And, one of the ways that we've changed our approach is to really focus on direct-to-consumer online business, which has been almost 100% of our business, but more specifically our pre-existing customers, focusing less on customer acquisition and really trying to optimize and serve the customers that we have. And that's through all sorts of different things, trying to develop a loyalty program, offering, specials to pre-existing customers, deals, discounts, perks. Also developing products that cater to the customers we have instead of, additional customers that we want. But really that focus on DTC and like a hyper focus on the customers that we have. Did I say DTC, direct to consumer online, just to spell that out? A second way we've been getting through this time with no sports, which is also tough for our business. So no retail, that's a lot for us to deal with. And no live sports. That's a whole other level of stuff for us to deal with. So we found new inspiration. We've been looking to nostalgic or classic moments, instead of just having license deals with current player associations across baseball, basketball, etc. We've now struck deals with alumni associations, so we can kind of pivot to classic moments. We've also pivoted to culture, and we're paying as much attention to what's popping off on Netflix versus what's popping off on ESPN. We're looking internationally. Korean baseball is back. Major League Baseball might not be happening, but the KBO just started up. So what can we do there? What can we do with European soccer? What can we do with the culture more generally that isn't necessarily our legacy core business, but we've kind of pivoted in new directions. We've also, the third thing I would say is new product lines entirely that kind of fit the times. We historically make hoodies and t-shirts, coffee mugs. We still make all these things, but we're developing new product lines, specifically masks. We've also done some prototypes of slides, slippers. We've talked about the products that we've done historically being perfect for these times as work from home outfits, keeping it very casual. But yeah, those three things have been ways that we've kind of dealt with this, and from a online or e-commerce standpoint, we've actually benefited overall. Our sales are up almost 50% year over year over the past 8-week period. Again, no retail, that hurts, but we've been able to kind of dynamically address some things to be able to steady the ship during a pretty rocky time. All right, sip 3. Given your background in journalism and how your journalism ties have helped raise the profile of the company, what 3 tips do you have to attract valuable media attention that can boost sales or investor interest? I hope you got all that. One, I just keep in mind that journalists are looking for a story, so give them one. Think about what the headline is. If you're developing, a new business, a new product line, you're striking a new deal, you're raising money, you have a new partnership, whatever it is, think about what that headline is. And are people going to care? Because if not, then the journalist isn't going to care either. So look, all this stuff is very important to you. If it's your business, anything related to breaking tea is important to me. But I almost assume nobody else is going to give a shit unless I give them a reason to. Think about that hook, that headline that's going to bring people in, and float that out there for whoever it is that you want to be, telling your story. The second thing is, I struggle with this when we talk publicly to anyone about breaking tea. If we're talking to, whether a journalist or just someone who might be kind of telling our story on a podcast or Twitter or whatever, is how open should we be? Should we say that sales were up 50%, or should we tell them exactly what our sales were and the different details behind that growth, what the drivers were, what the specifics were? And I often err on the side of being more open, which I don't know, could be to our detriment, but we think about that strategically. Does this give somebody else a competitive advantage? Is this going to somehow take us down a notch? If not, just be straight up and give people numbers. That's another thing that journalists or anybody who's going to kind of amplify your message cares about, is specifics and being able to give people data and details that might not be found in a press release, or that might just not be publicly available information. Number 3, last thing, is I would just say, don't be afraid to beat your own chest. There's so many different ways to get your message out there, whether it's 3 sips of advice, or Twitter, or LinkedIn, or your own website, or whatever is, everybody has a platform. Don't necessarily wait for somebody else to take notice and tell your story in a way that, might not be on message with what you want to be out there. It might be the wrong takeaway from your perspective. They might get it wrong. So take control of that message, beat your own chest, and, just tell the story that you want people to hear. Thanks. See you.